Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. So guys, the other day I made a video, a couple of days ago, 3-4 days ago, I made a video saying that Errol Spence wants a Canelo fight more than he wants a Terence Crawford fight. Terence Crawford also wants a Manny Pacquiao fight over an Errol Spence fight. He said that he wants to fight Manny Pacquiao next, and he wants that fight over Errol Spence. So both of these guys are, in my opinion, should be wanting to fight each other more than anything, right? And I do think that Terence Crawford wants the Errol Spence fight more than Errol Spence wants the Terence Crawford fight. And I'm not saying Errol Spence is scared of Terence Crawford, because he's not. But Errol Spence has got more options and there's more fights he knows he can make, right, under his banner with the PBC than Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford's in no man's land. But the fact that Terence Crawford isn't religiously calling for the fight with him and Spence bothers me a little, because Terence Crawford is doing exactly the same thing that Spence is doing with talking about Canelo. Terence Crawford should be calling out Spence. Instead, he's openly saying, I want the Pacquiao fight, because Pacquiao's not going to be that long. Pacquiao's 41, 42 years of age, yet you want to fight him, it seems like, more than you want to fight Errol Spence. So a lot of Terence Crawford fans that were saying Errol Spence wants the Canelo fight because he's looking to cash out because he knows he'll lose to Terence Crawford. Well, Terence Crawford wants the Manny Pacquiao fight, who's 2 years of age. Also more than he wants the Spence fight. He's openly said that. He said that, there was a Box 16 article on this. So I have a problem with that, because I think both of them should be wanting to fight each other badly. And like I said, the reason why I've been critical of Spence of late is because I think Spence, I don't think Spence wants to fight as much as Terence Crawford wants to fight. But again, the statements that Terence Crawford makes, I think the fact that he's saying he wants the Pacquiao fight over the Errol Spence fight, I just don't think that's a good look, is it? When you've been claiming that the PBC guys are ducking you, fair enough. Everybody can see that, Terence Crawford has been alienated for, last 1 or 2 years. But by saying that you want the Pacquiao fight over the Spence fight, that you're going to get criticism. Yes, Pacquiao's a world champion. Pacquiao's, considered top 3 welterweight right now. But if there's only one fight that Terence Crawford should be religiously calling out, and that's Errol Spence. But I just feel like it's either two things. Either Terence Crawford knows that he can make more money with Manny Pacquiao and it's probably an easier fight. Or he's just peed off with Errol Spence saying this 60-40 business, and he's just thinking, all right, let me go and make this Pacquiao fight. I'll beat Pacquiao, and then we'll see, and become a unified champion, and then we'll see what Spence says about 60-40, and then I'll be a bigger name because I would have beaten a legend. If he can beat Pacquiao, that is, which a lot of people would have him a strong favourite, Terence Crawford, against Manny Pacquiao. But I feel like they're both at fault, because they're both making comments, they're both making, saying things in the press that I don't know. I just think that they both should be wanting this fight badly. They both should be calling for this fight and making the promoters make the fight. Because let's be honest, if both fighters religiously want the fight and they want that over anything else, the fight gets made. If both Terence Crawford tells Bob Arum, I want that fight with Spence, and Spence says to Al Heyman, I want that fight, let's make it happen, and both parties come together, there's no way the fight doesn't get made. I just think both guys are looking for other paydays before they fight one another. Maybe they're looking to build it up more. I don't know. But like I said, I think Errol Spence talking about Canelo, obviously that would be a fight that I think Errol Spence loses. And that would be a crazy move for him to fight Canelo at this point, because he hasn't even cleaned out his division. I think Terence Crawford fighting Manny Pacquiao is obviously a logical move, because Manny Pacquiao is a champion in the welterweight division, and Terence Crawford would be a heavy favorite to win that fight against Pacquiao. Also, he would make a lot of money, and he would increase his profile by fighting and beating Manny Pacquiao, just because of how big a star Manny Pacquiao is. By no means I'm sleeping on Manny Pacquiao, because Manny Pacquiao, I still feel, I know a lot disagree with me, is still capable of beating Crawford. But I just don't like the fact that, you know, both guys are looking for other options when they should be calling each other out religiously and looking to make the fight. You know, a lot of their fans, Crawford fans, are saying one thing, that Spence is scared and he doesn't want to lose to Crawford. Spence fans are saying, well, Crawford doesn't deserve a 50-50 split. He's not a name. He's not fought anybody. He's not fought anybody in the welterweight division. I feel like both guys have flaws. Both guys are not perfect. Both guys' resumes aren't exactly stellar yet, and both guys have still got a lot to achieve and a lot to prove, and both guys still aren't the biggest stars. You know, yes, Spence might be a bigger star than Crawford, but I don't think he's way bigger star than Crawford. I don't think it's like he's on another level or anything. I think, yeah, he's a bigger star, but not by much. You know, so I feel like, listen, I think both these guys should be calling each other out. The whole of the boxing world wants to see these two fight. It's probably the most anticipated fight in boxing. I think it's up there with Joshua Fury. People want to see this fight, Crawford and Spence, probably more than any fight in boxing. I'm talking all the hardcore fans around the world that are boxing fans want to see Terence Crawford and Errol Spence more than probably any fight. If you were to say, right, so any hardcore boxing fan, what fight would you want to see that gets made in 2021, right? I'm pretty sure every boxing fan would say Spence Crawford. I bet every fan. But yet you got these two guys talking about other fights and talking about, you know, the split, and it's just not tasteful, because what we don't want is another Mayweather Pacquiao where both these guys eat their prime years and then fight each other when they're way past their prime, and we don't get the best version of that fight. We've already seen a fight like that. Like, obviously, these two are not commercially anywhere near Mayweather and Pacquiao, but it's still a massive fight. It's still a fight. They're both Americans. They're both undefeated. They're both welterweight champions. It's time to get it on. It's time to get it on. You know, so I don't know what they're waiting for. I think they should both be calling each other out. They both should be wanting to fight, but for some reason, I just get the feeling that that's not the case. I think Terence Crawford's frustrated, if I'm totally honest with you. I think Terence Crawford is probably looking at it that Errol Spence don't want to fight me. He's looking at other options. And Terence Crawford is probably thinking that this Spence fight's not going to happen. So maybe he's trying to play reverse psychology where he's saying, let me get the Pacquiao fight. Because if Terence Crawford gets the Pacquiao fight, Spence would probably be gutted, because I think Spence wants that fight with Pacquiao. If Spence beats Garcia, right, Spence wants that fight with Pacquiao. But if Terence Crawford does get the fight with Manny Pacquiao, it wouldn't shock me if Spence moves up and fights Canelo. Now, I do think Spence is drained at the weight. I do think Spence is struggling to make 147. You can tell he looks like, I saw his interview and he looked really drained. He looked really gone, and he didn't look right, if I'm honest with you. He just looked like, he's struggling making that weight now. You know, he's getting older. And Spence, we know that early on in his career, used to blow up as well to 180, 190. Coming down from that weight is, it's hard. It is hard, because 147 isn't Errol Spence walking around weight. I think Errol Spence probably walks around, like, when he's not super overweight, probably 165, 170, maybe even heavier. So for him to make 147 now, as he's getting older, I believe he's in his 30 or in his 30s now, Spence. So it's gonna be harder for him to keep making that weight. So personally, I won't be surprised after the Danny Garcia fight. Maybe Spence just moves up, because maybe he can't make 147 anymore. If that's the case, then there's going to be a lot of world title belts, or 2 world title belts that are going to be vacated. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Very interesting. But I just want to see that fight, because I do think Errol Spence is struggling to make 147. And I think that fight needs to happen next, because I don't know how long Errol Spence has got at 147. I don't. I think Errol Spence is really struggling. From what I saw in an interview recently, although obviously he may not be saying it, he looks like he's struggling to make 147 now. And I don't think he's got long left at 147. I don't. So I think that fight needs to be made ASAP, or we may never see that fight, because I believe Errol Spence will move up. And if he moves up, I can't see Terence Crawford moving up to fight him. I just don't see it. So I personally think that fight needs to happen ASAP next. Otherwise, I believe another year, if that fight don't happen next year, I just believe Errol Spence will outgrow the 147-pound division. I don't think he'll be able to make it anymore, or won't be able to make it safely where he's able to put in an effective performance. So I do think this is we get Errol Spence last fight, or maybe one more after the Garcia fight at 147. Then we may not see him at 147 because, like I said, I think he's struggling to make that weight. So hopefully they can get that fight on next year. And, then hopefully early next year they can make Crawford Spence, because, like I said, I don't know how long Errol Spence has at the 147-pound division. What do you guys think? Let me know what you think. Let me know your take on it. What do you want to see? Do you want to see Errol Spence, Terence Crawford? Do you want to see Errol Spence fight Manny Pacquiao? Do you want to see Errol Spence fight Canelo? Do you want to see Terence Crawford fight Manny Pacquiao? Do you want to see Terence Crawford fight Keith Thurman? What do you want to see? The fight we all want to see is Errol Spence v Terence Crawford, and that fight needs to happen because, like I said, I don't know how long Errol Spence has got at 147. And hopefully they can make that fight. I've been calling for this fight for a long time now. Hopefully they can make the fight. What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. Make sure to hit the like button. Smash that like button. It really helps with the algorithm and helps my channel. Leave your thoughts. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.